Good morning, everyone. Diane here from Yoga on Corydon, back for our second morning together. As I promised yesterday, we will have a gentle practice for the hips. Get your hips limbered up and ready for the day. Just before we get going, I'd like to say that Yoga on Corydon we're doing these classes in support of the Canadian Mental Health Association. And the CMHA provides advocacy programs and resources that help to prevent mental health problems and illnesses, support recovery and resilience, and enable all Canadians to flourish and thrive. Ride Don't Hide is the CMHA's annual fundraiser and raises money for all of their local programming. Self-care practices like a daily yoga practice or meditation, they're great for mental health. And if you agree with that, I hope that you would please consider donating to CMHA today. Our goal is to reach $70,000, and if just 20,000 Manitobans donate $20 each, we will have more than reached our 2020 goal. Now, for the practice this morning, if you don't like being on the knees, I'm going to have you grab a folding chair like the one you see near my mat. Also, if you have any kind of blankets or pillows nearby to help support yourself, or if you have a yoga block, you can gather that at your mat as well. So I'm going to head on over to the mat now. And I'm going to stay seated here, but I'm going to have you stretch out on your back and make yourself as comfortable as possible. So if you have a blanket nearby and you want to cover up, you can do that, or a pillow for the back of your knees, your head. And as you get on the back, you can shift around till you feel really comfortable. And as you come to that place, softening your gaze, or if you're comfortable closing your eyes, you can close your eyes. And start to take yourself inside. If you'd like one or both hands to the center of your chest to help connect within. And we're going to take a moment here to check in with ourselves. Just a moment to notice how your body is feeling this morning. You know, maybe special attention to the hips and the low back, because we'll be working here. But also checking in with what your mind is like this morning, what kind of energy level you're experiencing in a non-judgmental way. We'll check in again at the end, just so we can feel what our yoga practice has brought to us today. Once you've made your observations, you can let your arms relax back down to your sides in a comfortable position. And I'm going to have you start to notice your breath. Notice where you feel the movement of your breath in your upper body. See if you can start to feel your breath moving down towards your abdomen. Your inhale rising in your belly and your exhale sinking into your belly. We're going to move into a breath practice that is really good for calming or regulating the nervous system. And what we'll be doing over one inhale is we'll be breaking that up into 3 parts. We'll take 3 sips of air in, and in between each sip of breath, a small pause. So we'll take the first couple together, and then I'm going to have you continue on your own because everyone's breathing rhythm is different in lung capacity. So let's start the practice together with an exhale. Empty yourself out. And then breathe in about a third of your capacity. Pause for a moment. And breathe in a bit more. Pause for a moment. Breathe into your maximum capacity. Pause. And then feel your exhale slowly sink into your belly. Inhaling and pausing. Inhale some more and pause. Inhale that final time, fill yourself right up, pause. And then that long, slow exhale. Now continuing on your own. You want to feel that the pace of your breath and the length of your pauses are contributing to a sense inside of things slowing down and relaxing. So if it feels like you're gasping for the next breath in, or your nerves or your mind are getting busy or heightened, then that's a cue for you to shorten things up a bit. And feel like as you take each pause, after each sip of breath in, that you're allowing about a tablespoon of air to come out, just a little bit of air to come out, and then back in. Now you might find as you keep cycling through the breath, over time, if the body does start to relax a bit, the nervous system calm, the mind slow down, that very naturally on its own, the pauses in the breath will extend a little bit. The exhale might get a little bit longer. But if that doesn't happen for you, know that that is just fine. On your own time, I'm going to have you take one more breath, those 3 sips in, followed by your relaxed exhale out. And then the following breath in after that, let it take you back to your natural breathing rhythm. And just take a moment to notice how that breath practice felt for you. If it was really calming, know that you can call on that breath whenever you need then. When you're ready, I'm going to have you slowly blink your eyes open. And feel into your body if there's any body parts that want to wiggle around a little bit, move. And let's start with a big stretch again. Turn your toes up to the sky. Inhale your arms overhead. Reach, push out through your foot soles. Reach out through your fingertips. Couple of big breaths in and out. Making your body as long and stretched out as you can. And with your next exhale, let your legs flop. Let your arms float back down to your sides. All right, let's take a bend in the knees. Feet to the floor. And I'm going to have you bring your right knee in towards your upper body. You can interlace the fingers around the knee or grab the sides of your thigh. Don't bring it in too close. We're going to bring some attention into the left leg. Now I want you to slowly stretch that leg out and press your left thigh bone down to the floor. Feel into the front of the left hip. Now I want you to keep that action pressing down into the thigh bone and even out through the left heel. And now you're going to start to squeeze your right leg in towards your upper body. Now each of these stretches we take, make sure you're not overdoing it. If you're comfortable closing your eyes, close your eyes here. And if you feel the sensation of the stretch dulling at any time, then hug your thigh in a little bit closer. I'm going to have you relax your left arm to the floor beside you and loosen up that right leg. You can shake it out in the right hand a bit. And I want you to take that heavy, relaxed right leg around into a few circles. So you can peek at the screen, see what I'm doing, and then again, close your eyes and feel this from the inside in your right hip socket. We're oiling up the hip joint. Let's switch directions. Next time you are circling in towards the upper body, bring your left hand back. And then one more time, see if the leg wants to come any closer to the upper body. Next, exhale, release your right foot to the floor. Now let's bend the left knee, take that foot to the floor, and we're going to come into what's called figure 4. You're going to cross your right ankle over your left knee. Just let your leg relax. We're going to open up the front of the pelvis first, front of the hip, and then the back. So I want you to feel into the front of the pelvis on the right side. Here's where if you have a block, it might come in handy. You can use it as an extension to your arms, bringing it onto the thigh. If you don't have a block, you could easily use your hands on the thigh. So hands are blocked to the thigh. As you inhale, gently rock your leg away from your upper body. Feel the front of the pelvis opening, and exhale, release. So this is going to get us into our sitting muscles a little bit. Just keep flowing with your breath. Inhale, rock the thigh away. Exhale, release it. Next inhale, we'll rock the thigh away, and you're going to hold. Now we're going to build up a little bit of tension in the body to help release the sitting muscles. I want you to push your thigh into your hands or block, but with the hands or block, push back. So body parts aren't moving anywhere. You're building up tension in the inner thigh, front of the pelvis. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, relax your leg and see if it wants to move any farther away from the upper body. Bring yourself to what you feel is your full range of motion this morning, and take a couple breaths. Imagine you're breathing right down to the front of the right hip and thigh. And now let's slowly and carefully ease the hands or the block off of the leg. And we'll take that off to the side. Now we're going to move into the back of the hip. So feel the back on the right side. If you're getting good stretch in figure 4, stay. You want to bring the legs a little bit closer to the upper body. If you have a block, you can take your left foot onto the block, or you can grab the sides of your left leg, or even bring the hands to the back of the left leg. So we're bringing the legs in towards the upper body now. Again, this is just a comfortable stretch for you. And let's start to move here with the breath. As you inhale, rock your legs across the front of the body to the left. And exhale back. So once you get comfortable with the movement, close your eyes again. Feel this from the inside. If you feel things opening up, again, as you're rocking back and forth, bring the legs a little bit closer to the upper body. Now, next time you return to your back, let's stay, and you can remain in the shape that you're in right now, or if you'd like, if you're hanging on to the left leg with an inhale, you can stretch that leg up to the sky. And you can leave the hands on the thigh or walk them over the right leg to your shin. ankle, or foot. Good. One more breath. In and out. And then let's release. If your left foot is lifted, bring it back down. Uncross the right. Stretch out your left leg first, then your right. Give your legs a wiggle. And then let your legs flop. And take a moment. Feel your right side. Feel your left side. Notice if they feel different. We did quite a bit of work there for the right hip. All right, let's switch sides. So we'll double bend the knees, feet to the floor. You're going to bring your left knee in, not too close yet though. Once you have a hold of it, slowly stretch out your right leg and press your thigh bone down to the floor so we get that front pelvis opening out through the heel, and hold those two actions as you start to squeeze your left knee in. Let's relax the right arm to the side. You can shake out the left leg, just loosen it up. And then we'll use the left hand to circle that thigh bone around in the hip socket. And switching directions. And we'll bring it in for one more squeeze. You can bring the right hand back in. And let's release that foot to the floor. Bring the right foot back in. And then we'll come into figure 4. Left ankle over the right knee. We'll start with the front of the pelvis. So take a moment to feel how this figure 4 is sitting with the front of the pelvis on the left side. And then grab your block or use your hands. As you inhale, gently rock the thigh away from the upper body. And exhale, release. Moving back and forth with your breath. And next time you gently press the thigh away, let's stop. Let's build that tension. Push your thigh into your block into your thigh. Or hands. You're using hands. Feel your left leg, front of the pelvis, tighten up. Big breath in. Exhale, relax your leg. See if it wants to move any farther away from the upper body. Come to what you feel is your full range of motion. Breathe right down into the front of the left hip and thigh. Now slowly, carefully ease the block off. Let's take it off to the side, or your hands, sorry if you're using hands. And then now we're gonna stretch the back of the hip. So if you're good in this shape, stay, enjoy. Otherwise you can bring your right foot onto a block if you have it, or grab the sides of your thigh or the back of the right thigh, bringing your legs towards your upper body. As you bring them in, as you inhale, rock slowly to the right and exhale back. And if you feel some opening in the hip, you can bring the legs in a little bit closer to the upper body. Really want to go by feel. We'll rock out to the side one more time. Coming back, you can stay here, or with an inhale, slowly stretch your right leg up to the sky, leaving your hands where they are, or walking over top to your shin, ankle, or foot. Final few breaths. And let's release. Bring your right foot down to the floor, uncross your left, stretch your right leg out, then your left. Give your legs a wiggle, and then let your legs flop and relax and feel. Hopefully both hips feel stretched out, sense of balance. Now when you're ready, I'm going to have you roll off to the side. Use your hands to press yourself up. We'll be coming onto the hands and knees. If that doesn't work for you, take a seat in your chair and I will give you some instruction for in one moment. If you're going to stay on the floor, hands and knees, hands shoulder width apart, you can slide them a little bit in front of the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. As you inhale, slowly roll up your tail, your gaze, let the front of your body sink down to the floor. And as you exhale, roll down your tail, drop your head, push your back up to the sky. Continue to flow with your breath back and forth between the two poses. If you're going to take this in the chair, sitting at the top of your chair, hands on the knees, nice and tall. As you inhale, you want to rock the pelvis forward, lift the chest, shoulders back, lift your gaze, and exhale like a bad dog. Tuck your tail, round your back, look down in between the thighs. Right, if you're on the floor and you want to move into the front of the pelvis a little bit more, stretch out those sitting muscles, you feel your wrists will allow you to do so. With your next exhale, you're going to sit back towards child's pose, really reaching your palms forward. And as you inhale, coming up onto the hands and knees, leave the knees down. Start to release your pelvis forward. Feel the front of the pelvis stretch out. Squeeze the front heads of your shoulders back, lifting your heart and gaze, and then exhale back to child's pose. Cat and cow from the hands and knees or the chair is just fine. Again, you want to go by feel here. Let's flow for 2 breaths, 2 more breaths. Good. And then we'll come back to tabletop. All right, we're going to take a lunge. Favorite pose for the stretching out the sitting muscles. Again, if you're in the chair, I will give you chair instruction in one moment. If you're on the floor, I'm going to have you step your right foot forward. You want your knee over your ankle and third toe, both arms on the inside of the leg. And then you're going to pick up your left knee and scooch it back, dropping your hips forward and down. And I'm going to get you to hang out here for a second while I work with the chair folks. So if you're in the chair, you're going to sit with your legs slung over the side so that you can drop your left thigh down and even maybe take it back a little bit. So feeling that stretch here for the front of the hip. Now, chair and floor instruction is going to be exactly the same now. Right hand will, or elbow will come to the right thigh. If you're in the chair, you'll bring your both arms across to the back of the chair. We want to feel our left hip bone at the front drop down towards the floor a little bit more and also turn in towards the right thigh. So a little bit different than a twist. It's more of a swivel of the hips. And as you make that minor little adjustment, notice how that changes what you feel inside. Let's hold for 2 more breaths. When you're ready, you can turn and face forward. If you're in the chair, slide your left leg forward. If you're on the floor, take your hips back, take the right leg back, and then you can take a hip sway. If you're in the chair, you can stand up, sway the hips. You don't have to be on palms. If your wrists are getting tired, you can be in a fist or fingertips. Now, if you're using the chair, you're going to turn around and hang your legs over the other side so you can slide your right leg back. If you're on the floor, we're going to step forward with the left knee over ankle. Both arms are on the inside. You're going to pick up your right knee, slide it back, dropping forward and down into the hips. And let's stay in this first shape for a few breaths. Check in with yourself again. Make sure you're not overdoing it. Just a good feeling stretch. That's going to set you up for the day. All right, so if you're in the chair, you're going to turn and face the back of the chair. You can bring both hands there. If you're on the floor, your left hand or elbow to the left thigh, and we're dropping the front of the right hip down and turning it in a little bit. Feel how that swivel of the hips changes what you feel. Give yourself time for one more breath. And then let's come on out and give yourself a moment to move around. All right, if you were in the chair, I'm going to have you come back down to the, and I'm going to have you come onto your seat. Grab the flesh of your seat, each side, kind of pull it off to the side, and take a moment to ground into your sit bones. Now we're going to come into a bound angle. And have you bend your knees, bring your feet together, knees drop out to the sides. Now, if you feel this and you have pillows or blankets around, you can, or you have yoga blocks, you can prop your knees up. Let's let the feet open up to the sky like you're opening up a book. And you can spin the flesh of your thighs back behind you, wedge your thumbs in and pull your calf muscles forward. Now let's hang on to the ankles. Should feel some nice groin stretch, opening of the hips. As you inhale, make your back as tall as you can. And as you exhale, see if you can tip forward from the hips, keeping your back straight. So there probably won't be a lot of movement there. That's fine. Nod your face with your head. Now take a big breath in, and as you exhale, let yourself round forward and relax. So you can leave the hands on the ankles or bring your hands out in front of you. Let your head hang, you can wiggle it, let your jaw relax forward, let your arms hang off of your shoulders. Good, 2 more breaths. Good, now to come up, walk your hands back so they're almost underneath your shoulders, and we'll use some arm strength here. Push down into the floor to bring yourself up. As you come up, let's slide the knees back together, stretch your legs out, and you can lean back into your hands, give your chest a little bit of a lift and your legs a wiggle. All right. Now, even if you don't like being on the hands and knees, I'm going to ask you to come there for just one moment so we can set up our next pose. So as you come up, step each knee one step to the left so you can take a seat on your right hip. Now, if this is a big stretch, you can get up on a pillow, make it more comfortable. Slide your right knee forward so that it is lined up in the center of your chest. And then you can tuck your outer thigh and hip underneath you. This is the first stop in the pose. You can be right here, the left knee's bent, your right foot is up against the left thigh, and you can add in a forward fold. Or if you want to come along with me, you can stretch the left leg out any amount that feels good. Your knee and your foot will be turned off to the side. You're still sitting on the side on the right hip, and you can come into a forward fold here. Or you can walk your hands back either side of the right leg, pick your hips up, and square them forward. So now the top of your left thigh, knee, and foot are going to turn down to the floor. And if your right hip is off of the floor, you can wedge your block, pillow, whatever you have underneath there. Hands in front of you, snuggle back into your hips, and bring yourself forward into a comfortable fold. So you can be on the elbows, you could fold up your hands, rest your forehead in your hands. If you got a pillow or something like that, you can rest into that, or hands, forehead on the floor. Feel your right hip. Let's take 2 more breaths. And once again, to come out as you're ready, hands underneath the shoulders. We'll use arm strength to press back up. If there's something under your right hip, you can take it out, and we'll just roll off to the right. Roll off to the sides, come out of your pose. And a little bit of a wiggle to release. All right, we'll come up to the hands and knees for that brief moment to walk each knee 1 step to the right, taking a seat on the left hip. Slip something under that hip right away. Slide the left knee forward, center of the chest. Tuck your outer leg and hip behind you. Stay here, or stretch the right leg back any amount that feels good, or pick up the hips and square them forward, turning the top of your right thigh, knee, and foot down to the floor. Again, you can wedge something in this hip. We'll bring the hands out front, snuggle back into the left hip socket, and then let yourself come forward, take your time. Find your breath. Feel your left hip. And give yourself time for 3 more breaths. Feel each of those 3 inhales and each of those 3 exhales. As you're ready to come out, hands under the shoulders, push down into the floor to come up. If there's anything under the hip, take it out and just roll off to the left. Roll to the side out of your pose. Give yourself a moment to move and release. All right. Now I'm going to have you come onto your belly. Fold up your hands, rest your forehead on your hands. We'll move back to the sitting muscles again. So as you arrive in this position, feel the small of your back. Feel the front of the pelvis if there's lots of tugging, if there's any discomfort. Play around with the position of your legs. You can walk them away from each other. You can turn your heels in towards each other. You can try turning your heels away from each other. See which position allows you to just relax and let go. Breathe down into your belly, and as it is compressed by the floor, feel the breath rise up into the small of your back, filling up that space. And as you exhale, notice how heavy you can allow your hips to feel. Now, if you're enjoying this pose right here, you want to stay, go ahead. Otherwise, you can lift your head and we'll walk the elbows up underneath the shoulders, coming into Sphinx, and let yourself settle into the shoulders. Move your head till you feel like you're in the most comfortable position for your neck. Let's take a few final breaths. Inhale into the belly, filling up the small of your back, massaging the small of your back. Exhale, heavy, heavy hips. Last breath. And we'll move out of this pose now and have you turn over onto your back. As you arrive there, bending your knees, feet to the floor, and let's slowly and lazily allow the legs to relax from side to side. Next time you bring the knees up, pause. Notice if there's any final movements that your body feels like making. You can do that here. If not, take a few moments to start setting yourself up for Shavasana or relaxation, stretching out on the back. As you do, notice if there's anything that you'd like to place at the back of your knees or head, or cover yourself up with a blanket, or cover up your eyes. Make yourself as comfortable as you can right now. And as you get settled on the back, softening your gaze or closing your eyes, drawing your attention inwards. And you can take one or both hands to the center of your chest to help connect inside. And I'm going to get you to take a moment to notice how you feel again now that you've been through your yoga practice. So feeling what is happening for you right now, body, mind, emotions, mood, energy, and comparing that with how you felt as you first stretched out for your practice. Noticing the shifts and changes that you brought to yourself, physical and non-physical. And when you're ready, complete with your observations, bringing your arms into a comfortable position at your sides and moving your attention down inside to your heels. Feel your heels and then slowly move your attention up from the heels through your legs, sensing and relaxing into the legs, into your hips, the front of your hips, and the back, the seat muscles you're sitting on. And with your mind, Find your tailbone and imagine now you are exhaling out through your tailbone. You can imagine or feel your growing roots into the ground beneath you, or like you have a big, heavy dinosaur tail. Each exhale, your hips getting heavier and more relaxed. And now from your tailbone, slowly sensing upwards, sensing and relaxing through your hips, small of your back, back of the rib cage, upper back, neck, all the way up to the pressure point you're sitting on in your head, on your head. Feel for the tops of your shoulders, relaxing all the way down through your arms to your hands and fingers. Now sense and relax your face, your forehead, your eyebrows, the space in between your eyebrows. Sense and relax your temples, your eyeballs and eyelids. Sense the inside of your mouth. Release your jaw. Sense and soften your tongue, your lips. And now feel your whole body from the top of your head to the bottoms of your feet. Now gradually turning your attention from your inside world to the outside world. And take a moment and imagine what room you are in, how you are stretched out. As you feel your mind coming back, a little shift in the breath. Let your inhales start to become more expansive and energizing, like you're filling yourself up with good, positive energy to take you through the rest of your day. And then feeling into your body, noticing any body parts that want to move, wiggle, or stretch. And once you move around a little bit, opening your eyes and heading onto your right side, you can curl up into a ball and give yourself a moment here to gather. Getting ready to go on with your day. And from here, as you are ready, pressing yourself up, settle into a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you. And we're going to take a final moment to turn inwards. You can rest your hands on your lap or bring your palms together to touch the center of your chest. And this is an important moment, a moment to thank yourself for showing up for yourself this morning and investing this time and energy and effort into yourself, your health, and your well-being. And whenever you are ready, you can come on back. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm wishing you a wonderful day. Namaste. All right, I'll be back tomorrow morning for our third and final practice. Tomorrow morning, we're going to have a grounding practice, and we will take a few standing poses. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.